I began to work simultaneously with children, normal kids, gifted kids, kids with learning problems, and with brain damaged adults, people who were once fine, but who had a stroke or a tumor or a missile accident. And the more I spent working with these two populations, and it was important that I was seeing kids every day and brain damaged patients every day, the more I became convinced that kind of in a gut level that it was much too simple to say smart, average, dumb, that people could be very good in one thing, average in a second thing, and not very good in a third. That's an intuition which I'm sure has been had by millions of people over the years. I think I then did two things which were important academically. Number one, I set up a series of criteria to essentially define what the human faculties were. And then I decided, and I don't never remembered how it happened, but it was important to call these intelligences. If I'd written a book called 7 or 8 or 9 Talents and said people can have different kinds of talents, everybody would say, what else is new? Because we know they're musicians, they're athletes, they're chess players, and so on. But it was the notion of saying there are 8 or 9 faculties. What we usually call smart is a conjunction of language and logic, but it doesn't say anything about spatial ability, about musical ability, about the capacity to solve problems using your hands or your body, about understanding other people, understanding yourself, being able to make distinctions in the natural world. Those are different faculties. And I think what sealed the deal in 1980 was we could find some neurological evidence that the language abilities came from one part of the brain, musical abilities from the second, and so on. So in the early 80s, I promulgated the theory of multiple intelligences, often called MI theory. You're kind to say it's universally adopted. I would say it's universally fretted about.
This excerpt is brought to you by the Massachusetts School of Law, the leader of reform in legal education and a leader in multimedia education for the public. To view the full interview and for a full listing of MSL's programs, log on to mslaw.edu.